Good evening, everyone. I think the D-Day has passed, CAT 2015, for which each one of you were waiting with bated breath probably for it to complete, has finally got done. I'm sure at the end of the day, a lot of you are relieved more than anything else. Whether you will get through the IIMs, whether you will get through the top institutes or not, depends finally on what kind of scores you will finally get. I keep saying this. In fact, I said it as early as yesterday, as late as yesterday, that you will never know how well you are doing it or how badly you are doing it. You should keep doing it whether or not you are able to score well. I think this kind of what do you call this, projection or prediction was true. The second section, DILR, as I'm sure all of you know, was pretty difficult. In fact, the section 1, when people finished their verbal ability section in the first slot, the forenoon session, they were, I'm sure, very elated. It's like too good to be true. But the moment DILR started, and those of you who started with LR, I think would have got a shock as such. But the idea was, if it is difficult for you, it is difficult for everybody else too. I think somewhere we need to understand that this idea about any competitive exam should never be forgotten when it comes to such kind of exams. If anybody, I mean, those people who kept their cool and solved the 2-3 sets which are easy, even in DI, while I'm saying it is difficult, there were easily 1 or 2 sets which are very, very straightforward and simple to solve too, and easily you guys could have got the kind of marks. Once I show you what the cutoff probably will be for the DILR section for 85 percentile, you would be very, very pleasantly surprised probably that I could have done it. Okay, so that's the kind of a background with which we'll start off today. I'm sure a lot of questions you will still have. Let me just start with a very, very quick analysis. This is what the paper was, as I'm sure all of you know. I don't even have to go back and say it. The CAT 2015 pattern did not change from what the mock CAT was there on the iimcat.ac.in. It was a bit of a surprise. It was a bit of a surprise because they did give 24 questions in RCs. And interestingly, by the way, non-MCQs was 24, not 12. Just 1 second. Okay, we will continue with this. This should have been 24 plus 10, guys. Number of MCQs were 24 and non-MCQs were 10. Similarly, for section 3 also it was 24 and 10. In data interpretation and logical reasoning, I think there was one set each in DI and LR where you had to key in the answers. If you had seen the paper beforehand, when I'm saying seen the paper before you started, the first 2 minutes, had you seen the entire paper, you would have got some kind of an idea of what the paper is all about. We at Vistamind also have given you 3 or 4 papers of very, very similar areas, saying so many of them will be, similar to the mock CAT. We were expecting, of course, that the number of RC questions could be only 18, not 24. But then, when it finally happened that it was 24, I think almost all of you would have heaved a sigh of relief. We have done some collection of data and we see clearly that the number of attempts in the section 1, that is verbal and RC, has been unusually high this year, very similar to last year in that sense of the word. Almost a lot of people attempted more than 20 and a lot of people attempted more than 25 and many attempted more than 20. Which is a good sign. That also means that the cutoff may be slightly higher than normal. But we also know this, that a lot of students do make mistakes. Obviously, nobody answers a question thinking that you will be 100% right. you will be 100% wrong. You will always believe that you have the right answer and therefore only you are clicking. So keep this caution in mind that while you might have attempted 24 correctly or 22 correctly kind of things, you may still make few errors in your answers. That's true, not just for verbal RC, but also for quant 2, which can ensure, which you should make sure that you don't miss out on. Okay, just 1 second, guys. Just a second. Okay, we'll continue. I will do that. I will try to do that, Sahil. In fact, let me get out of that itself. In fact, there is no need for a video so that it will be much more clearer for what you are listening to. Thanks. Second, as you can see, let's look at the quick analysis of slot 1 and slot 2. I have seen both the slots. I have not written both the slots, but I have written the first one and seen most of the questions in slot 2. Here is what it appears like. The overall, the 2 slots had very similar level of difficulty. That's something which is very good as far as the CAT is concerned. Last year, when those of the students who have written 2014 would realize that one slot was unusually tough, one slot was unusually easy, and therefore it was very difficult for people to gauge what scores are. Of course, the IIMs are going to normalize the scores, all right, but the beauty of this paper, is that they tried replicating. The beauty of CAT 2015 is that they tried replicating just about every type of question in the paper. In fact, it will be very interesting to note that some of the questions in quant especially were the same questions with some basic data change. Almost I have gone through 25 odd questions in both slot 1 and slot 2, and we realized that they tried doing exactly, in fact, the areas were very similar. If there were 12 arithmetic questions in slot 1, I guess there were about either 11 or 13 in slot 2. That much of mapping was done. That's the beauty of it. If you look at verbal ability RC, very similar level of difficulty, except that slot 1 appeared to have a lot of direct questions in RCs and therefore smaller passages, whereas slot 2 had more inference questions and slightly longer passages. Now this is slightly longer, probably about 30-40 words more for each of the RCs, which could definitely affect the overall scores. You will see how we are analyzing this in that sense. Okay, there is a definite. So in verbal and RC, slot 1 may have a slightly higher cutoff, whereas slot 2, therefore, by virtue of that same thing, would have a slightly lower cutoff. DILR also, in both the slots, the section was pretty difficult. That is the interesting thing. The second slot was a difficult slot for whatever reason. But here also there is a difference. In slot 1, the logical reasoning area was definitely more difficult than DI. Even there was one easy LR set, of course, but the cube set was a non-MCQ, and the other two, while could have been solved, it was not easy for people to solve it within the given time. You have to probably give about 8 to 10 minutes or even more to make sure that you are right. However, in slot 2, the logical reasoning had at least 2 easy sets, and the data interpretation was slightly more higher or more difficult than the first slot. Now, what does this mean? This means it won't be, Soumya, we will discuss this, it won't be partially, it will be finally same, but there will be normalizing which will be done. So if I have to judge slot 1 and slot 2 separately, my slot 2 percentile, my slot 2 marks will be in DI-LR on an average higher than the slot 1 marks of LRDI without much of an ado. In fact, to the extent that the cutoff for DI-LR for the same 85 percentile can go up by 3 to 5 marks as compared to the first slot. Similarly, for verbal, I feel that it can come down by 3 marks, down for the slot 2 by 3 marks. Now, you take these two slots independent of each other. What we will also be doing, which we want you to put your scores into our on the percentile predictor is, then we normalize. There is a formula for normalizing which we will use, which has already been given by the IIMs. GATE has used it always. TCS has used it. We will try to make sure that you will get the right percentile. Okay, you will be able to then figure out whether your percentile is right. So, for example, somebody says 16 attempts in section slot 1 or the forenoon session may not be the same as 16 attempts in slot 2. Somebody at 13 attempts or 14 attempts in slot 1 could be good enough. That is for the DI-LR section. Similar is that way. Shika Bajaj asking me very good question. How do we know how many questions that we attempted were correct? Almost impossible to know. But two things which will help Shika, and this is where I'm going to ask you also that you should do it, is on and by and large, you know what kind of strike rates you have. But once you know what kind of strike rates you have, you can also guess, depending on, of course, how you have written the exam, what could be the average cutoff, average number of average strike rate that you would have got in this particular CAT exam. So you make a guesstimate there slightly, so that you will figure out that's right or wrong. Okay, I'm not saying it's easy, but for example, if ever all the time in your life you have got about 50 percentile, 50% in your strike rate in verbal RC, because this paper was decidedly easier, you may expect a 65 or 70% of strike rate. DI-LR, if you have always got a strike of 85-90, chances are that it can go down a little. So that is what we need to look at, kind of things. Not one verbal ability and quant were not at all tricky as far as I understand. Okay. Lastly, QA incidentally very similar in both slot 1 and I don't even think slot 2 or here a couple of people have mentioned that, but I think the fatigue of DI-LR did hit quantitative ability both in slot 1 and slot 2 because DI-LR was a tougher customer, so to say. The QA got affected. The QA got affected simply because you are mentally a little less alert because you feel that you might have not done one of the sections well. This is one of the things which we discussed 2 days back also, saying that look, the moment section is over, go to the next section, forget what has happened in the previous section. That should only be the kind of way in which you should ideally write CAT exams or any exam for that matter. Remember, quite a lot of you, almost all of you probably will take up will be taking up SNAP and ZAT. Overall cutoff of slot 2 because of the DI-LR section, especially LR1 set. One question extra if somebody gets. One full set itself was easy, but if even one set extra, one question extra somebody gets on an average, the cutoff therefore will be slightly higher when we get, or slot 1 marks will get reduced. Right, Saket, that's true. That's exactly one of the things that you need to always understand, that if a few questions are difficult, you keep going because you have, let's say, 4 slots of 15 minutes each that you need to look at, kind of things. What again, never ever get bogged down with the very first question, which is what unfortunately some of you might have done. But then, as I said, making sure that the reason I have given you this analysis is when somebody gives you numbers of how many attempts they have made, you will also have a perspective of how to look at it. I mean, what kind of a number to look at it, kind of things. Okay. This is what I feel is the right kind of an average attempts, good attempts for an 85 to 90 percentile with an accuracy levels that I have put it across approximately. So in VA and RC, a prediction of good attempts for 85 percentile to 90 percentile is something like 23 to 25 attempts with about 70 to 75% accuracy. DILR, for the second slot, it could be 16 to 18 with 80% accuracy, and the first slot 15 to 16 with 80% accuracy, 15 to 16 or 14 to 16. And in the quant section, it could be 18 to 21. Very difficult to say this because quant was easy, there is no doubt about it. People who have attempted only 13 also would get probably all 13 correct. That is another way of looking at it, because it was easy, much more easier and similar to the last year's paper. But there will always be 1 or 2 mistakes people make. Out of 20, people can easily make about 2 or 3 mistakes. So that's what we have taken, saying that the cutoff may be just about 85 percentile cutoff, maybe in the 45-44 range, which you will see here. This is what our prediction says. This is already there on our website. The second slot prediction also, I'm putting it across in a few minutes or after this is over. What we feel is that your once again, your just give me the 85 percentile. This is what we are predicting approximately. For a 70 percentile in verbal RC, you just need 30 marks. DILR 17 marks alone, and quant 30 marks. For 85 percentile, however, the quant requirement will go up. It's normally seen that good people will get better scores almost always. Similarly, at 95 percentile, as you can see that I have put it up, you will require close to 59 marks in your quant. So this is important. These are the important numbers for 85 percentile for general category, and for OBC category, normally it's at 75 percentile, guys, probably around 32, 33 in verbal, about 18, 19. Please remember 18, 19 in verbal, in DILR would probably mean 7 questions. 7 correct questions net would be more than sufficient to get 75 percentile, or less than 7 questions. And here, of course, it will be in the 35 range. So you will need about 13, 14 correct questions to get there without too many mistakes. 99 percentile, this is our approximate prediction, and the overall will be about 173 to 175 in the slot 1. This is obviously slot 1 that we are discussing. This incidentally is almost about 20 marks less, almost about 17 to 20 marks less than CAT 2014. And that is bound to happen simply because DILR, two things happened. One is DILR is a separate section and was tough. 2, the overall cutoffs doesn't, it doesn't really go up high because there is no maximization of scores which is happening in any of the sections. You are given only 60, 60, 60 in all 3 kind of things. Okay, but very, very similarly, the slot 2 predictions are something like this. If you look at 80 VARC, we are saying that 37, that is less by 3 marks, and plus 5 marks for DILR, and probably minus 1 mark for quant from the slot 1 other things. But the overall will still be higher, as you can see. I'll answer those questions, or Srinivas, can you answer those questions which are coming? Please, whatever questions you have, friends, please don't send it only to me or on a private chat. I am not going to answer it while I am taking this. That's the reason Mr. Srinivas is also there along with me, my colleague. You please put it to everybody else so that he can continuously answer if there is any requirement. As you can see, for verbal ability, 60. Chat is not open to all. Is it? Oh, let me just 1 second. Just 1 second, guys. No, it is not. All panelists is different. All attendees also, I said. Everybody will see it. Let everybody see it. No? Whatever they're asking, you don't have to. Janani, I have enabled it to everybody else, so you can see it, because so that you don't have to keep on answering the same question again and again. So I'm just sharing this again. Okay, here is where we were talking about. So there will be a slight increase. Is a problem with this pen if I forget it. There's a slight increase in, if you look at it again from previous, the quant will be same. Quant will be same. 70. When you go to the next slot, it becomes 70 again. Whereas DI is a huge difference, 45 for 95 percentile, whereas in the next one it's going to be 50. That's very important to understand. And even verbal will be a slight difference, not too much of a difference as such. You can see that it is 62 here in the next slot, whereas when you go to the next one, it is just about 60, 1 or 2 scores less. This information, by the way, is being built almost dynamically. This can change tomorrow morning. It can go down or go up depending on how much more information we have as far as the exam is concerned. That is the reason why, may I just request that almost every one of you, in fact tell your friends, whether they are from Vistamind or they are not from Vistamind, does not matter, that they should go to this website and they should go onto this website, on our website, and go to the CAT percentile predictor. You may not remember everything properly, but together MCQs plus non-MCQs, you can just add together so that I will know at least how many you have attempted and what is your general approximate attempts as such kind of things. Once you get there, it becomes that much more easier for us to get this data. Last year we did prediction. Of course, we were a little off at the top levels, but anywhere between 80 to 90 percentiles or 95 percentiles we were bang on. The problem starts happening when it becomes 95, 97, 99 and 99.5, 99.9 kind of things. What we have right now on this tonight is only a very, very general number. By tomorrow evening, I think with all this data that can come in, we should be able to predict a lot better in terms of what percentiles you can get with the kind of marks that you are expecting. So Shika was asking, how do I decide? I don't decide, you will decide. Then we will do some kind of a, we have seen this happening, that for a large variety of people, let me explain this logic of how I will come to a conclusion with that. What we do is, the bias is going to be there both sides. There are some people who will think that they are very good, therefore they'll feel that they get 100% accuracy, and there are some people who are, skeptical, pessimists, etc. I am going with the basic broad assumption that the world is, balanced still. Therefore, there will be people who think they are too good, and there are people who think that they are too bad. Neither of the two may be correct. Neither of the two may be thinking it correct. But when we get this data, we don't do too much of analysis. First, we get this data, raw data, and get these numbers. and then plot it with what our easy, medium, difficult level of each of the questions is. And that way, we will be able to calibrate your scores, your percentiles from whatever you are saying, and then give you individual percentiles for each of the sections as well as overall individual cutoff that we predict for you. This is for you. Somebody wanted us to show this, wanted me to show this. So this is what the cutoff version. This is available, which is going to be very shortly available on our website also, friends. Please do go through that without worrying about whether it is there here or not. Okay. Now, the other important thing that is very, very essential for today, without really taking too much of time of yours. Yeah, we want the link. From this link, once you give the marks, we will be able to get it. Coming back to what I was saying, one of the most important things, guys, now that CAT is over, do not start feeling that this is the end of all the efforts that you have put in. If anything, like I said on Friday, when some of you were there, and 1 week back, last Sunday also, those of you who are not there, I'm again saying this, please do not, lose the steam that you have built up. Maybe take a day off, maybe take 2 days off. But there is a snap on 20th of December, there is an XAT on Jan 3rd. You have 1 full month to go. Remember this. Some of you might have become very slow in quant for whatever reasons in the CAT exam. That also is going to have quant. You cannot, you have this 1 month to bring it up, make yourself faster. Logical reasoning will be there. 60 marks are there for the asking in SNAP. In fact, in SNAP, there are 4 sections, out of which 1 section, that is logical reasoning, has 2 marks for each question, whereas all other 3 sections have only 1 mark for each question. So, attacking depending on what the exam is very, very important. That is point 1. Point 2. Once we give you this percentile, that's the reason why we want you to give us the percentiles also. If you are able to, we will have this percentile with us also. Put it on our website, you will get automatically the mail. Even otherwise, after that also, please get in touch with either Mr. Srinivas or with me, or Ankuran sir in Ankuran or Sunita ma'am in Calcutta, or Raghunath sir and Vishant sir in Chennai, etc. kind of things. Or anywhere else you are there, please get in touch with us directly also. Where we will tell you what kind of percentiles that you will finally get. We will look at the range and then give you which kind of business schools, these schools that you should be applying, so that you will get at least a call from. So giving you a lot more, and some of the last dates are getting over. MDI is already over 28th. I think some more institutes are going to be there between December 15th to Jan 1st, and some others till Jan 15th. Making sure that you don't miss out on some of these institutes will become very, very important. And Ravi thankfully is saying that thankfully for all of you, the last date for SPJN is 7th. So if you feel that you can get about 97, 98, 96 percentile, and you have a decent 10th, 12th and degree, and your ACADS and profile scores, I think you should go ahead and apply too. Now, whether you should apply or not, that is where we are going to still help you, kind of things. Okay, keep that in mind. Please make sure that not just you guys, please ask all your friends who have written CAT to go and fill up this thing. It will be very, very useful for us to come out, for every one of you to give a better percentile score, better analysis of the percentile score. When I say decent, Argya, what I am looking at is at least you have something like 80 plus in 10th and 80 plus in 12th, and probably 75 plus in degree, with about a couple of years of experience, maybe some co-curricular and extracurricular activities to boot. It is not a completely a blank slate there. You have some interest, etc. kind of things. If once you have that, I think if you also can get about 97, 98 percentile, or you expect that 97, 98 percentile in CAT, you should definitely apply to SPJN too. The next steps and Vista plan, as somebody was just asking, we're going to have special mocks. There are 2 mocks or 3 mocks that we will come out with for Snap, and there will be a couple of special classes, online classes in each of the centers, whether it is Chennai or Calcutta or even Bangalore. We're going to have a couple of classes there which are specific to Snap. The strategy sessions I will take up personally on how you should maximize this course. What was the cutoffs for, let's say, SIBM Bangalore, SIBM Pune, SIBM Bangalore, SCMHRD and other institutes. It will definitely help you to go through this. By the way, those of you who have not applied for Snap, the last date has been extended and it is tomorrow. If you have not applied for it, please do apply. Similarly, for that, we're going to have a special module itself. A special complete that module, the plan of which will be shared by Tuesday evening with you, to all of you. Srinivas, can I commit that Tuesday evening for that special module? Wednesday morning kind of thing. By Wednesday we should be able to be ready. And it will be live training sessions online. This is for Vista Mind students. Obviously, it is going to be free. Any friends who are interested and want to come on to this online platform for the ZAT classes also, they can come in. We're going to have mock ZATs too, which will kind of give you an idea of how to prepare and crack the ZAT exam too. Last but not the least, friends, this is something which I have always said for the last 15 years, and therefore let me say it again to you. You think you may not have done well. You might think that you are cut off, whatever my predictions may be correct, wrong, etc. kind of things. By applying judiciously over the next few weeks, in the next 2-3 weeks itself, for all the B schools, the right B schools, you would be in a position by the end of Jan and the beginning of Feb to get enough business school calls for the GD and interviews. So don't give up just because you have not done well, or you think you have not done well. Your thinking may not be wrong. In fact, there are few people who came out of the exam after slot 1 and are almost lamenting, saying that, sir, I have done only 13 questions in DI or 15 questions in DI. When we analyzed it, we know that 13 questions in DI with about 10 correct could still be comfortable to get a 90 percentile, which is not the same probably for a quant maybe, for all you know. But all I'm trying to say is, do not double guess what will happen. Apply to few institutes where individually we will try to help you. Please do take our help. Hound us if required be. Call us up, mail us, WhatsApp us, because you can WhatsApp for everything else. So keep doing this. If we forget replying to you, like Sharath, I don't know whether you are there, that I forgot replying to you for something like this, please ask me 10 times. Don't feel bad about it. It's your problem, and I will respond the moment I am free. It doesn't matter whether, ideally I will respond immediately. Not just me, any one of my colleagues will respond immediately. However, if we don't shy away, ask 5 times. That's also resilience, that's also persistence, which you can say is your strength when you go to your GD interview for the IIMs. Okay. Now, having said that, we are also going to have extensive preparation both offline and online. Online typically will be 2 things. 1, knowledge sharing sessions, knowledge on economics, knowledge on current affairs, knowledge on international affairs, national affairs, social issues, etc. kind of things. We'll pick it up. Plus, we will also do, wherever required, online interviews, so that, I mean, in this WebEx now you can't see me, but we also have a way in which every one of us can see each other, and it could be a proper online live interview. Okay. Those of you who are in any of the cities that Vista Mind is already there in, we definitely will be there offline, and all Saturdays and Sundays we will be helping you to prepare for your interviews till almost end of March, March 15th or March end kind of things. So that's the basic plan, guys. I've given you a very broad idea about what we did. This is the percentile cutoffs. I think those of you have missed out. I just said that this year the two papers have been very, very similar, slight changes in each of the sections. Good attempt would be something like 55 to 60 attempts would be very, very decent. 60 plus is good. 70 plus is really, really good attempts in this paper. These are the cutoff which might change by tomorrow, friends, once all of you give your scores. But this is our first cut percentile cutoffs, where I think about 105 marks will be required for 85 percentile and about 120 marks for 90 percentile, and 140 you will easily get 95 plus kind of things. Okay. And I told you there is so much more to do. SNAP, ZAT, testnet, GDPI, everything else. I mean, as those people say in the news items, don't go away anywhere kind of things. The next 1 month we are there for you, not 1 month, next 4 months we are there for you to ensure that we are going to help you through this entire journey. Okay. Thank you, friends. Any other questions? I can now start answering them along with Srinivas. Sectional percentile, that's what I gave you that, Swati. What kind of an extra inside you I've given you sectional cutoff marks and sectional cutoffs for each of the sections too. Yes, GDPI will start in January, second week. In fact, IFT results, the moment IFT results come, that is where we start off our GDPI. See, IFT is the first one to call somewhere in the first week of January, most probably, or the end of December itself. Then you will start getting from SAMHRE SNAP itself. That will be an NMAT for that matter. NMAT is Jan 15. Your CAT will be Jan 15. So actual calls will start coming in the end of February and the whole of March. Your interviews will start end of January, beginning of February till almost beginning of April. That's the kind of things. Danish Alam is asking, should I give SNAP? If you feel that you have prepared decently for CAT, you should give SNAP. Yes, Pranav, we will do general awareness classes, definitely. See, sectional cutoff is not the same for all colleges. It is basically not even true for all the IIMs. That's the reason I have given you various sectional cutoffs, 85 percentile, 80 percentile, 90 percentile, etc. So for example, the IIM A, B, C's probably, especially A and B, may take 85 percentile cutoff for the individual sections and overall cutoff of 95 percentile plus. Whereas the later new IIMs may take only 80 percentile for each of the sectional cutoffs and 90 plus percentile for the overall cutoff. If you are an OBC, for example, the best institutes take 75 percentile cutoff. So I am trying to give you every kind of a percentile cutoff depending on what the institutes are. MDI Gurgaon is different, NITI is different, etc. kind of things. Absolutely, Argya, you should go ahead and apply. Very much Anirban. See, please understand that it starts in January, but most of your interviews will actually be in Feb mid. So it's almost about 30 days or 4 weeks are available. And I suspect it should be comfortable because I don't expect that you will then mug up everything. You will have to read the newspapers. We will do a lot of, crash course kind of things. What you need to really prepare for is your personal interview and a written analysis exam, that WAT or the essay writing. For that, it is a daily process, and for about 15 days you do it, you will be, fairly fine with this. Ashmita, the ranking institutes, I think on our website we would have a ranking there. Please go through that. At the same time, I think within next 2 days, we're going to take 2 or 3 days, we're going to take a small seminar where we'll tell you what percentiles, we'll give you what colleges, and therefore whether you should apply, when should you apply, including the notifications. Yes, Rahul, we will do that. Yes, Anirban. Classroom sessions will be in the weekends, whereas the online sessions will be weekdays.